So the packaging, it comes all boxed up here, so we're going to take them all out, lay them out on the floor so we can see what we're going to work with. It'll help if you grab yourself a 19 and a 17 millimeter socket wrench, as well as a wrench itself, and that'll help speed up the process rather than using the tools it comes with. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to build it right into place into the tailgate here. So the first thing is we got to open it up and then get it into our hitch. And if you have a little bit older vehicle, it can be a little difficult as rust and corrosion build up in there. So I just brought a file over and started working away on it until I could get the actual bike rack inserted in. And after a while of working on it, as you can see here, we finally got it to slide into place.
Like a glove.
We just want to line up that pinhole with the hole in the hitch. Now we can insert the pin. Make sure you put it on the correct side of the bike rack. It'll indicate it with the warning sticker on the other side saying pin on this side. So we're going to go ahead and insert that in there, and then we're going to go ahead and tighten down that bolt. Now once you have it all the way tightened, you want to come to the other side, and we're going to attach the lock. Now that simply just kind of snaps into place, and once you get it in there, you want to turn the key into the lock position, and you can remove the key from the lock. Say one thing with the placement there, it is kind of tight, because we have the plug for our trailer lights, but you can get the key out and move on with the process. So now that we have that into place, you want to insert these two arms. Now, one mistake I made here, if you look at that one arm right as I'm working on it right there, if you look all the way at the end, I actually have a screw hole pointed upward. And I had to redo this, so don't do that same mistake. Make sure that those are pointed downward. But we can come back with our 17 millimeter wrench and socket and go ahead and tighten down those 4 bolts. Now with the arms all tightened into place, we can put in the wheel racks here. Now what you want to do is when you insert one side, if you put that side in first, the other side you want to put that one in second. That way we alternate it and it'll keep the bike rack itself balanced. And now you can see we can add the screw there and it'll catch those to make sure that they don't come off. Now we can bring these arms. You want to bring the longer one in first, point it forward, and then the shorter one, and then insert the screw there so those don't come loose. Now you would be all done if you were only using the 2 bike rack, but here we are going for 4 bikes. So you want to insert the next piece into there, and this is where you're going to need that 19 millimeter socket and wrench to tighten those 2 bolts down. Now once those 2 are tightened, you're going to repeat the process that we did in the front. Adding the 2 arms, making sure that that screw hole is pointed downward, and then we can come back and insert the 4 17 millimeter bolts to secure that. Now we can insert the wheel catches here right into the arm. Again, we want to make sure that we alternate those. So if you put it first, the next time on the other side you'll put it in second. And then we're going to come back again with the other arms, putting down the long one first and then the short one second. We now want to make sure that we don't forget to insert those screws into the 3 places there so we don't lose any pieces. And now our construction of the bike rack is complete. So we can give it a little test here on how easy it is to flip downward, and you can flip it up for easy storage when you're not using it, and then it can flip down pretty easy as well when you go to use it. Here's just a closer look at that little pin that slides out, and it'll go down to the lock position. And you can see it right there in action. Flipping up, it's pretty easy, pretty smooth. And now we're going to go ahead and just get ready for our bikes. So we're going to set the wheels slightly where we think it's going to be in place. Bring the bikes over, and then we can make adjustments as needed. Now we can bring that arm and tighten it down, making a few adjustments here and there just to make sure the bike is secured down. Now when you go to travel, once you get 2 bikes put on here, there will be another larger strap that goes over the 2 and around the bike rack. We don't show that here because right now, like I said, we are just getting these wheels properly positioned so we can get the bikes on there and secured. Now for me, we are actually going to have our 2 adult bikes up front here, and then we're going to bring the 2 kid bikes and put them in the back. So those ones we want to as well get the span correct for the wheels. But as you can see, when I go to put the arm down, we're going to have some issues there, so we're going to need some extra pieces to get this to work. But still want to get those wheels put in the proper position.
Okay, so one thing to think about if you are doing like we're doing here with 2 kids' bikes, I figured I'm gonna put the heaviest bikes towards the tailgate where it has more support, and then as we come out, we'll put the lighter kids' bikes out here. As you can see, my wife's bike is one of those deep V, so we had to purchase this crossbar that goes in here and hooks, so this piece can come down and support it and hold it down. Well, when it comes to the kids' bikes, we're gonna probably have to do that as well, because you can see that this right now is not grabbing enough there, nor does the back one even come close to being able to come down low enough to get the 2 kids' bikes. So you're gonna need to pick up a few more of these if you have those. I was hoping to get away with it and being able to do it with just the kids.
Now you can see getting the bikes on and off is pretty easy as well. If you have a little bit heavier bikes, these front ones could be a little difficult on you. Ours are pretty standard, and we have no real issue getting them on and off. But as you can see here, just a few straps around the wheels to get them off, and then you can remove the bike. Now don't forget, when you do travel, you will have the main secure strap that would go over. That is not shown here, but once the bikes are removed, you can just quickly strap down those straps so they're not flapping around, and flip up the bike rack. And here's that crossbar that we needed to get for our bikes, the 2 kids ones as well as my wife's, so that this bike rack will work properly. And you can see it snaps on pretty easy and you're good to go.
As in all my reviews, I like to take the product and use it for quite a bit before I go ahead and give the final review of it. So we have used this throughout the summer, and we're heading in towards the end of the summer here. And it was used quite a bit on short trips just to our local parks, a couple hour trips, as well as even an out-of-state trip. I will share, in that out-of-state trip, we hit some major storms. It was downpouring, lightning, thunder, everything, and we did not lose the bikes. So I thought that was a pretty darn good test, and we were on freeways going between 70, 75 miles an hour, and no issues whatsoever. One thing to think about though, when you first start driving, I had this on without any bikes when I first drove, and it does have a little bit of play at first. Now this is a little bit exaggerated because I don't have this fully tightened up because we're not really going on a road trip, but it will sway a little bit in your rear view mirror. You'll see that. And that's with 2 trucks. As you can see, we got rid of the old F-150 and upgraded to a new one, and in both vehicles we did have that play, but it's a little nerve-wracking at first. But like I said, it didn't loosen up or anything, and I didn't lose it. As well as when you have the bikes on, you'll see them kind of sway every once in a while. And I was definitely keeping an eye on them in my rear view mirror at first, but as we went along, I got really comfortable and started really trusting the bike rack itself. We'll start with, I guess, some of the things that I really liked about it, and then we can move on to some of the things that there could be a little bit of improvement. Things that I really liked was definitely the ability to lock your bikes into place. With just the same lock key that you use to lock the actual bike rack to the hitch is the same key that is taken here, and then your bikes cannot be removed without this being locked. It comes in really handy, especially if we're going on a biking trip, say to a park. If you do want to go ahead and go do a little fishing, you can put your bikes back on the rack, lock it, and know that your bikes will be secured down and no one's going to walk away or ride away with it. So that is very convenient. Another nice little thing is this being able to be detached when we only need to take 2 bikes. Say the wife and I are going on a trip up north and the kids are staying with grandma and grandpa or something like that. You can easily detach this and only have the 2 bikes. So it's really nice having that ability to go from 2 to 4 as needed. Some of the things that I wanted to point out is you do have some rust that will start showing on it. Doesn't look like it is going to affect it structurally, but for looks wise, that could be a turnoff for some people. But it went through quite a bit this summer, and it is starting to show a little bit. Also, from the pin slide, there is some scratching down here, so I'm assuming that those could possibly rust in the future as well. So that is something that will have to be maintained. Maybe we'll have to hit it with a little bit of paint just to try to stop it from corroding or anything like that. With the new truck, the plug for the trailer is now up by the license plate, no longer down below, so you don't really have that issue anymore trying to get that key out of the lock. So if you have an older model like the first one we showed, you're going to have that little wiggle room. The new models, you have plenty of room completely. So it does have the position down. I'll show you here. This tilt down function, which allows you to get into the tailgate. But if you notice, that tailgate comes down on it. So you don't want to put any pressure right on top of this. Something to be aware of. But if you do need to access something in there, it does come in handy. Getting this Another thing was with this, it is quite heavy. So to get this on and off, it's probably best to use 2 people. I struggle getting it on and off. It's a little easier now that the tailgate isn't completely rusted and having to fit it in there, but it does have a significant amount of weight. I believe it's about 80 pounds. So to move it on and off, it can be a little bit of a challenge. So 2 people, definitely better than 1. Altogether, I'm really happy with this purchase, and I would recommend it to any of you who are viewing this and looking for a bike rack, either for a 2 or a 4. It's really done well for us. We haven't had any issues. All right, so I hope this helps you make a decision on a bike rack that is perfect for you guys in your family situation. If you are interested in this bike rack, I will leave links below, not only for the bike rack itself, but also those crossbars that are needed to get certain bikes to work with this unit. If you do use those links, it does help us out as a channel with no extra cost to you. So we do appreciate that, and thank you very much. If it's your first time here, we'd love to earn your subscription. That will also help us out making content and getting review videos like this out as well. So until next time, thanks for buzzing by, and you take care.